Few countries suffered as much as Iceland did in the wake of the financial crisis. Its ultra-aggressive banks imploded under the weight of around $85 billion of debts, far too much for a small country of just 300,000 inhabitants to bear. Currency collapsed, jobs were shredded, the economy nosedived, and the International Monetary Fund was called in. However, since then, Iceland has gradually nursed its way back to health. Unemployment has come down, it exited the IMF program in 2011, and yesterday it issued its first euro-denominated bond in 8 years. We have Finance Minister Bjarni Benediktsson here at the FT to talk about Iceland's ongoing recovery. Bjarni, thank you so much for being here today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, it obviously was a very successful deal yesterday, but I would like to talk about Iceland's recovery from the crisis because it was such a profound and shocking blow to the Icelandic economy, the Icelandic psyche even. I'm interested to hear, how's the recovery been? How far along are you now?
Well, I think we've come a very long way. We have pretty robust growth at the moment. We are growing at around 3%, and the projections for the coming years is also for ongoing growth. The tourism sector has been doing phenomenally, growing in double-digit numbers year on year. And I think, in the immediate aftermath of the crisis with the currency falling, we got exactly what we needed, which was the export industries gained competitiveness. And so we managed to save a lot of jobs, even though unemployment came a little bit up. I think unemployment today is lower than in any member state of the European Union. Also, inflation has balanced. So all in all, the economic indicators are pretty favorable at the moment.
But still, you have this legacy of capital controls going straight back to 2008. Now, capital controls obviously keep money from going out of the country when you need it, especially foreign currency. But this has been now 6 years, and the various governments have talked about cutting back on these capital controls, which are politically unpopular now as well. When are you going to go about doing that?
Well, we're working very hard on that issue, and I think that is our next biggest challenge. I think actually Iceland has all of the social stability, political stability, and economic indicators to have a much better rating with the rating agencies than we do at the moment. But but that won't happen until we lift the controls. So when will it happen? What we are working towards is maintaining stability at the same time we solve this issue. And there are a few pillars of the problem. One of them is the states of the old banks, and we need just a new adjustment. This is a balance of payment problem, and the balance of payment projections for the future show that we just can't lift the control and see what happens. It's obvious that the krona will fall again. So adjustments need to be made. Refinancing of current obligations will also have to take place. And we need to make sure that the economy is growing and is strong once the controls are lifted.
But, one of the main obstacles is the fact that these failed banks and that the foreign creditors of these banks are still they haven't been able to get their money. The government, again, various governments have talked about this for a long time, and it seems you keep stalling. Are you hoping that the creditors are just going to throw in the towel and accept any deal that you offer them?
Well, the Icelandic case is a little special in the fact that the money isn't owed by the state. It's owed, as you said, by the states of the fallen banks. So what we have been hoping for is a realistic idea from the states of the fallen banks towards the central bank in terms of an application for exemption from the controls, which would be realistic, taking into account the balance of payment outlook for the Icelandic economy. This has not happened. They've been waiting to gain access to their foreign assets and local assets in excess of what is reasonable in our mind.
But what is reasonable?
And it is not for the government or the authorities to create that solution for them.
Well, clearly the government is the final arbiter of this. The administrators of the failed banks could sort this out. Fundamentally, you control the veto of how and when this happens. And there's just been procrastination. Why are we still, years on after the crisis, still talking about resolving these banks?
Well, it's a complicated issue. The assets are in excess of our GDP, so the interests are enormous. Let's not forget that the controls are not only on the estates of the old banks, they're on every Icelander, every Icelandic business, on the pension funds, on everyone in Iceland. So we are very concerned in creating a solution that is comprehensive, which doesn't leave us with residues of the problem, which would be even harder to deal with than the estates of the old banks. So our focus is on not discriminating against anyone, to finding a solution that solves it once and for all. And it's true, the estates of the old banks are a very important part of it, but they will also need to be realistic in their expectations.
Well, surely, but one person's realistic assumptions is another person's grievous haircuts. I mean, creditors have been complaining that they haven't even been able to really talk and have a dialogue with the government for some time. And are we going to get a deal sometime this year, for example?
Well, let's keep in mind that they've already received billions of euros already.
Only a fraction of what they're owed.
Well, the states still hold, like I said, a very large amount of the total assets, but they've been paid in foreign currency in the billions of euros already, whilst the pension funds of Iceland have not been able to go abroad. I'm hopeful that we can use 2014 to come up with a concrete answer to the question, can a solution be created in an amicable manner with the estates? We are bringing in foreign advisors on this issue. And actually, I think all the right incentives are there on all sides of the table to create a solution that we can work with. And if you look at the market price of claims against the estates, it's obvious that the market is saying, yes, write-offs will have to take place.
Well, Mr. Benediktsson, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.